Hi, welcome to the Belfast Food Network Nourish Cookery class brought to you by me, Jade Bradley. Today I am making a festive carrot cake, a delicious dessert recipe that has got a really nice Christmas feel to it. Our carrot cake will most definitely have carrots in there, which is perfect for this time of year where we can grow them ourselves or we can get them quite easily locally. Most of the other ingredients are store cupboard ingredients which can be sourced really easily. I do try and get fair trade options where I can with these. The ingredients that I have for this recipe include some grated carrot, some chopped walnuts, some muscovado sugar. This is some orange and lemon zest, 3 eggs beaten together. This is some cinnamon and mixed spice, baking powder. This is the juice of an orange, some unsalted butter. This is self-raising flour, and this is my alternative to icing sugar. So these are all the ingredients that we will need for today. First up, preheat the oven to 170 degrees Celsius. I forgot to mention my oil in the ingredients list, but we will begin by adding this to the beaten eggs and the muscovado sugar in a large mixing bowl. Lightly mix this with a wooden spoon. Make sure to break down any of the lumps of the sugar before adding the carrots, walnuts, orange and lemon zest. There is a lot of mixing required for this dish and it definitely does get sore on the arms, so maybe don't want to do this after you've done a tough arm gym workout. Next up, I mixed the flour, the baking powder and the spices and sifted these into the cake mix bowl. Then we will lightly mix all of the ingredients together. The mix should be fairly soft and runny. Don't forget to give the cake mix a cheeky taste before we pop it in the oven. I used coconut oil to grease my cake tin, however you can use any other oil or butter for this. Now we will pour the cake mix into the cake tin and we will cook for around 40 to 45 minutes, just until the cake feels springy when you press the centre. We can move on to make the buttercream topping whilst the cake is cooking. I used coconut sugar as an alternative to icing sugar for this recipe, hence the reason why it's brown instead of white. You can use a food processor for this stage, however I chose to do it without. This is why I cut the butter up into smaller pieces, then used a fork to break it down. Then I added the orange juice to the butter and mixed this through. This takes a bit of effort to do manually to get it to a smooth consistency. When the butter was softer, I could use a whisk to mix this through. Next up, I added the zest followed by the sugar. If you are doing this manually, it does take a bit more time, but it is definitely worthwhile. Keep mixing until the buttercream is as light and fluffy as possible. When the cake is ready, remove it from the oven and make sure that the centre is nice and springy. I used a large knife to cut around the edges of the baking tin. Now we can remove the cake from the cake tin and leave it on the cooling rack to cool for around 10 to 15 minutes. When the cake is completely cool, we can smooth the buttercream on top of the cake using a palette knife if you've got one. Start with a large dollop of buttercream in the middle, then you can work it gently out towards the edges. This does not have to be perfect, do the best you can. Mine wasn't a masterpiece, but it still tasted amazing. I added some marzipan balls, grated carrot and some orange zest to the top of my cake along with some cinnamon sticks. Be creative, you could even add some festive holly. There you have it, festive carrot cake.